Thank you. My name is Stove-Lorentzen from NorthCape here in Singapore. And the panel is about the resilience and attractiveness of Chinese leasing. Chinese leasing has grown to become one of the premier go-to funding markets when it comes to larger, more complicated structures. Since 2012, I'd say they've been on an aggressive growth path. If you take only the top 5 lessors, of which 2 of the gentlemen here are from, I think we are talking close to 60 or above 60 billion in portfolio, 1,200 vessels. And again, that's only the top 5. There's at least 18 more focusing on international business. And when you see any type of transaction today going to market, when maybe syndication risk is a concern, or volume is needed, or flexibility on structuring is needed, there's an element of Chinese in it, meaning you check that market. So we at NorthCape have been fortunate to work with our friends in China for the past 10 years, and it's with great pleasure that I introduce to you Josh from Bank of Communication Financial Leasing, and Tianyi from CMB Financial Leasing. I will start with the lead-in on the agenda. It says something like China now controls the largest fleet in terms of tonnage globally. My question is, do you consider yourself a ship owner? Do you feel you actually control your fleet?
First of all, thanks for James to host this panel and take care of us. To be honest, I think BOCOM, we have both characters of ship owner and also financier, but we're more likely to be a financier in the market. As our own fleet getting larger and larger, I think our ship management, both experience and our capability is getting improved recently, but most of our daily operation of our fleet is carried out by the third party. So in general, I think we are more focusing on the financing, but to do some, if there's some really good opportunity to invest, or time charter will be a diversified product to our clients.
Hello. Now it's better. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming to our session. And I'd like to say thank you to Andrew and Kevin for inviting us. And yeah, very happy to be back and glad to be here in Singapore. For the question, I'd like to say this is quite similar for CMB-FL. And I think for our portfolio, legally speaking, we are the ship owner. And but most of the time, we provide the financial service, not in financial leasing or in operating leasing to our clients. So basically, I think technically speaking and commercially, is our client to manage the ship and to control the employment of the vessels. So most of the time, I think we are the financier of the ships. But I'd like to say that we are also the real ship owner because we have our own investment. We have, although compared to the portfolio we finance, the portfolio we invest is around like 12 vessels, both on water and on order. So it's not a big number, but we like to try to follow the market and try to get a feeling what our clients feel in this market. I think it's quite important, and we want to share more insights with our clients. And so I think it's a good add-on to do the financial leasing and operating leasing. So I think for this question, generally speaking, yeah, that's what I want to share.
There's been talk that there's been a slowdown or less, maybe less, even less appetite from the Chinese lessors. Do you agree with this?
In my opinion, I really don't think why this kind of phenomenon would happen. Because what I feel is we still did pretty well this year. Our asset scale climbed from 17 billion to 19 billion, and the annual drawdown estimation is about 4 billion for this year. So actually, both of these figures are the highest to the date. I personally think we did much more than the previous. And our net growth rate is even better than previous year. So also I want to mention there's more and more Chinese leasing recently set up their financing department and start a new business. Probably they are more focusing on the project with maybe domestic background right now, but hopefully in the future, you will find more financier in the market. But we do feel like there's more competition among all the Chinese leasing.
Yeah, actually, I'm quite surprised to find there are only two of us from Chinese leasing.
You were the only ones that wanted to sit up here, I think.
Yeah, but I think from the point of our view, I think that Chinese leasing is getting more active and more popular in the past several years, actually. Yeah, and not only the like BOCOM leasing and ourselves, MBFL, we have done the shipping finance for many years from 2008. We found that there are a lot of newcomers in this market in Chinese leasing. So I think it's still a very active market. Yeah.
But there's little doubt that there was a huge amount of exposure repaid during COVID from the container lines. Clients across sectors such as crude products, dry bulk, are getting quite cash rich. And a lot has been repaid and continues to be repaid. How do you continue to stay? How did you grow your portfolio from last year to this year in such a competitive market? What can you offer clients that makes them fund and grow your portfolio?
Yeah, I think that's right. That's one of the most important pressure for my daily life. Yeah, but repayment, I have to say, under such kind of circumstances, it's not, it can be avoided. But to be honest, most traditional vessels, our exposure is getting repaid. But at the same time, we got a lot of more opportunities to invest in LNG, maybe car carriers, which is not like usually occurs in the market before. So in my opinion, I think what we can do to hedge those repayments is we have to get involved into the hotspot in the market as early as possible, because all the demand is limited. So you have to do, it's limited for each year, so you have to get those sources as early as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't agree more with Josh. We're faced with the same pressure, but in the first time I traveled to Singapore this year, in the first half, I'm on the flight, I'm dealing with a drawdown of a new project. But this time on the flight, I'm dealing with a prepayment issue. Yeah, but just joking. Actually, I think compared to the amount that may have the prepayment pressure, actually, we are very confident to have more business. And you can see that from the ranking of Marine Money, and we are now at the end of last year, we are the number 11 in all the shipping financial institutions. And this year, we keep grow our portfolio steady, and we have more drawdown each year, and the business is good. So I think it is not a big problem for us to find new projects. And we think most of the Chinese leasing companies matured a lot during the past several years. And we have got involved in more segments in the shipping industry. And I think that's mean more opportunity. As you can see, the many orders, new building orders is very packaged in the Chinese shipyards. And also we can help our clients with a second-hand vessel S&P. So yeah, I think there are opportunities.
Just some supplementary to Tianyi. I think right now repayment is quite normal, because I think all the repayment mainly depends on what's your strategy and your decision you made before. So right now, if you have fixed rate finance, that will be great. And another way, if you have flexibility in purchase option, that will be good as well. So we can, as a leasing company, we totally can understand when you want to purchase it back. If you have a pretty high margin and you got a purchase option at the same time. But if you purchase back, there will be create more finance demand in the market actually. So I think that's reasonable, and our current increasing absolutely can cover this kind of offside.
So do you feel that there's more competition in the Chinese lessor market? I mean, we don't have to go that many years back until we probably could fit all of you on the stage. But now there seems to be quite a lot of these I don't want to say second tier, they're just not as big as you guys. How about that? But they are, they have been doing domestic deals, but they've now gotten their license, they've set up their foreign desks, and they maybe even have hired some of your ex-colleagues and such, and they're chasing transactions. But they maybe are the ones that seem to be reported to be struggling to fill their portfolios, because I think data shows that you haven't struggled at all. But do you see them pressuring your terms to maybe improve more than they should?
I think, as I said before, as more and more Chinese leasing start this kind of business in shipping, we do feel a lot of pressure, especially when you have some demand. You heard some news, they getting to know some new leasing company and probably find a better proposal from others. It definitely makes our, you have to get more active. As I said before, like most financing demand for each year is limited. We do feel there's less opportunity to finance every year. So in order to compete those creative competition, we have to provide like more diversified maybe pricing, or maybe more flexibility to our clients, and try to grab them as early as possible.
Yeah, like I just mentioned, I think that it's good to have more players in this market, and the market will be more active. And I like to see that although the Chinese leasing companies, ourselves and our peer companies, quite similar in some perspectives, but I like to see different companies have different policy, different preference. So I think basically, I think it's a good signal to the market, not big pressure.
If a client is worried about utilizing or funding from the Chinese lessor because of what they read in the newspapers about geopolitical issues or such, what should we tell them? What would you tell them if they raise such concerns?
I believe BOCOM and CMBL has been in this market for a while. We don't think we did anything different from what we did before. And I think we are as international as you are. So we are really welcome and open to discuss everything. No worry about that.
Yeah, and CMBFL is fully owned by China Merchants Bank. And China Merchants Bank is quite an international bank. And in Chinese market, the China Merchants Bank have a very popular private banking service. And the #1 credit card in the Chinese market, and it's also very convenient to use in Singapore and everywhere in the world. So also for the for the corporate business, China Merchants Bank has many branches, overseas branches. Like in Singapore, we have our own branch, and also in Europe, in New York. And what I want to say is that we are quite similar to the European banks, and we have the international source of our funding. Yeah.
Yes, I think as our source of funding is from all over the world, I believe where our funding goes is also globally. So I don't think there's a reason to worry about that. We are keep open to discuss those.
You're basically all in the same boat, no pun intended. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the higher interest rates that we're currently seeing? I would say that traditionally, we go back to the lower interest rate days. It was very popular to do fixed rate funding. One of the attractiveness in the pitch towards clients was that the Chinese could do long fixed rates at great volume. Are you still able to offer fixed rates? Do you still conclude on fixed rate basis?
Yes, we do still. Actually, we did pretty much projects in fixed rate this year. Absolutely, I think the high interest rates affect a lot, no matter the repayment, or I think the high interest rate makes the finance demand shrink. So that's another essential point for our clients who want to repay their exposure as well. So I think fixed rate for long-term leasing would be one of our advantage especially for sales and leaseback scheme. I think that's what we provide to diversify our products, just to avoid just to match some specific requirement from our clients. I think that's one of the most effective way to meet under the current circumstances.
Of course, the client may not want fixed rates today because it'd be a quite high number, I suppose. But yourself?
Yeah. Basically, same for CMBFL. The fixed rate facility is still workable for us, and we prefer to offer what our clients want to have. So we have both the floating rate pricing and the fixed rate leasing. And I like to see that for the base rate has been increasing recently and in the last year, this year. But I think if we have a long-term view and we have the long-term like more than 10 years, 15 years, the leasing period. So I think maybe we can expect the base rate maybe going down in the next few years, and it's hard to see. So, yeah.
The panel before us was speaking a lot about the Poseidon Principle and ESG, and unless clients could show steps taken to improve on this, they would be hesitant to fund. What kind of positioning are you taking when it comes to ESG and the Poseidon Principle in general? Do you actively pursue this? No, obviously, new builds is something you've always been big on. So I assume you're still funding that. But just pick your brains on this one.
I think that's probably that's what I say, the hot spot in the market. Like I think almost all the financier would pay attention to those kind of projects. So, yeah, for sure, BOCOM is really like this kind of asset, and we will have more kind of support for pricing this kind of asset. Yeah.
Yes, we already have many eco-friendly ship in our portfolio. So this kind of ship are very welcome. And we have LNG dual-fuel container ships. We have some ammonia-ready ships, and we have some. We are studying the methanol dual-fuel ships. So yes, I think for CMPFL, the green technology, the ESG, are quite important for us, and we are very willing to offer financial services to this kind of project.
And at the same time, you're not going to say no to good clients with older type ships either, are you?
For sure.
Okay, all right. I think that's all the time we've been given. Thank you, gentlemen, for
Thank you,
answering
James.
the questions.
Thank you all.